No, it's probably not working, but that's okay. Whatever.
Double check.
It's all good. All right, guys. What's up, Coast Rangers? Wes here again. Another installment of this podcast. We're going to be talking this time about nutrition with our certified sports nutritionist, Brittany Malone, and talking really about kind of like the stuff that we've seen work, the stuff we haven't seen work, and what we're going to be doing for you guys as Coast Rangers with this program. So, Brittany, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, guys. My name is Brittany. I have been doing CrossFit now for, I want to say a little over 2 years. Growing up, I was a gymnast, and I only did gymnastics my entire life. That's all that I knew, and I was super lucky to go ahead and get a college scholarship, and then I competed for Seattle Pacific, and went through all of that, and after I was done, I was like, oh goodness, what am I going to do with myself? I have no idea what to do, and I just spent, 10 years of my life living in a gym 5 days a week, 5 hours, and now I have all this time, so don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't have an absolute job right now, so
that sounds like my future. That's going to be me in a couple of years.
Well, that sounds like me right now, actually. So I just went to a regular gym, and I went there, and I was like, well, I want to keep off the weight, and I was like, I'm just going to run on a treadmill, I guess, which is crazy because I hate running. Never did it as a gymnast because we didn't need to. You just have to sprint down like a vault runway, and that's like 80 feet, and so that was all that I did, and I ran.
Flip 1,000 times and land on your feet.
Oh, yeah, that too. I thought minor details there on the wall.
So it made total sense to go to the regular gym and start running on a treadmill.
Yeah, well, it didn't, but I had no idea what I was doing, and I just kind of knew from, people that I saw, or in the magazines, and they're like, oh, yeah, go do cardio for 30 minutes. And
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Yeah,
and on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and barely eat anything, and you'll look like me. And I was like, sick, gonna try it out. And I tried it for a week, and then I was like, oh gosh, I can't do this. But I remember watching CrossFit with my roommates eating a bag of chips, and I was watching them, and I was like, oh yeah, that's super easy. I can do that. They're walking on their hands, and I can do handstand walks. So basically, I should probably pick that up so then I can go to the CrossFit Games next year. And that's definitely not how it worked out, obviously. But after a week of going to the gym, I kind of decided that I wanted to find a CrossFit gym, and I specifically wanted to do Olympic weightlifting, though. I remember seeing girls do that and thinking how badass that was. They were hot, they looked great, and they were lifting, heavy-ass weight. And, I saw that, and I was like, I want to be that. So I went around to, the local places, and all that I looked for when I went into a gym was barbells. I had never picked up one before. I've never seen one before in real life, but that's what I saw it in a video. So I was like, that's what I want to be there. So as soon as I walked in, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, and found a box, and I was like, okay, sign me up right now, ready to do my on-ramp, and I'm ready to compete make me ready to compete in a couple weeks. What did you,
because I've talked to your old coaches before. Do you remember what you specifically told them when you walked in that first day?
I can't believe you talked about that. This is so embarrassing. I didn't even know you guys talked about that. I think I walked in and I was like, oh, correct me if I'm wrong too, because I want to know. I think I was just like, hey, I was like, I want to do CrossFit. I used to do gymnastics. I can do handstand walks, and I want to compete, or something like that. What did I say?
So this is what I heard: is that Brittany walks into Hyperfit in Salinas, Hyperactive, excuse me, in Salinas, and goes, "Oh, hi, how's it going? My name's Brittany. I want to go to the CrossFit Games."
Oh, nice.
So what do I need to do to make that happen? Basically, is what I heard.
Probably.
And so when Brittany started coming to us, and then her coaches told me that, I was fired up. Because that doesn't happen very often when you get somebody who comes in and is like, no, I want to put in work and make this happen. That's a coach's dream, right? Sure, yeah. And you just pray that they understand what that actually means, and then when they finally figure out what that means, that they're still there, and so definitely Brittany has realized what that means, and she is definitely still here. So
yeah, it did not happen in a year like I thought, but I'm still here, still pushing for it.
That's really fast. I know we're here to talk about nutrition, but that's an amazing thing to understand. Brittany has a gymnastics background. When did you start gymnastics? What age?
When I was 4.
4 years old.
Yeah.
Did it her entire life, so had a high level of competition underneath her belt, went to a 4-year school and did nothing but gymnastics, basically grew up in a gym, and she started CrossFit how many years ago?
Like 2.5 years ago?
And you probably still, honestly, what do you think, have at least 2 years of training you need to put under your belt before we're looking at going to the games.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if we have somebody like Brittany who has been doing gymnastics since she was 4, like the one thing that most people have the hardest time with, right, in CrossFit, and she is looking at a 4 to 5 year approach at this thing, people.
Yeah.
Read. Right? Like anybody reads in the corner, you guys, and he's going to chime in every once in a while. But anybody who's looking at getting in this sport, regardless of your athletic ability, what you've done in the past, how much volume you've had under your belt in training, if you haven't been doing specifically CrossFit, you need to set up a 3 to 4 to 5 year plan to do this. Like even the young guys, if we look at like the Noah Olsons and stuff like that, and like now the Smith brothers that are coming up, they've all been doing this for 4 or 5 years. And now they're just starting to emerge.
When we talk about it, we'll talk about it coming up in the mental side. I don't want to distract from the nutrition, but how do you climb Everest?
Yep, one step at a time.
Yep.
One step at a time.
One step at a time, but that's not true.
Yeah, definitely. After I did my first open like 4 months after starting CrossFit, and I went into it like very confident, and then I saw what actually happened, and I ended up like I think placing like 430th or something like that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm a good bit away, and that was definitely like a slap in the face kind of thing. But then after that, it made me become really realistic, and I was like, you know what? And I remember talking to you about this, Wes. It was like just a couple months back, and I was like, I really want to go to regionals, and I was like, you know, I don't know if I'm there right now, and I was like, but like, you know, I know that I'm getting older, and eventually I want like family and stuff, but like, give me 2 to 3 years, you know, like just 2 to 3, like it's not next year because I'm realistic. It's not going to happen within a year, but like give me 3 years and I'm going to put in work and like, let's get there, you know? And I think, you know, I'm very happy to have gone to regionals, and now that means that I get to change my goals and stuff. So now give me 3 years and I'll go to the games, you know?
Yep.
But so that's how I got into CrossFit. And then this past year, I did the Granite Games and qualifier, and I PR'd my snatch by like 20 pounds after taking off like a month of CrossFit. Nice. So I don't know how that happened. It was awesome. But I PR'd my snatch, and after I had someone approach me and was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing weightlifting, like Olympic weightlifting competitions? And I was like, yeah, it like kind of popped in my head, but I don't think I'm ready yet. Like I need to lift more kind of deal. And then I thought about it some more, and I was like, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready, so I might as well just do it anyway. So I went ahead and I decided that I was going to do that. But being the competitive person that I am, I was sitting in between the 58 and the 63 weight class, and I knew that if I went down to 53 that I had some chances to qualify to like the American Open, and I was like, I want to get there, you know? And I had only like 3 months to do it, so I didn't have a lot of time. So I decided that I wanted to go ahead and cut weight. And actually what made me decide that I could do this, though, is we were doing a nutrition challenge at Coast Range. And so part of it, we had to go and get like our body composition and figure out what our fat and stuff was. So at this point, I weighed like 123 pounds, and 100 pounds of that was muscle. So I was like, all right, like I still have enough fat there to go ahead and cut down and be okay.
What did you have to actually get to? So you're at 120.
So I was 123 pounds, and to be a 53 weightlifter, you have to weigh in at 116.
Bob knew that, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bob's from Canada.
Yeah,
so
from Canada.
And I had never, growing up doing gymnastics, I actually never knew anything about nutrition. I think with gymnastics, it's so, you have to really be careful about nutrition when you're talking to young girls, especially in gymnastics, because there is such a big chance that, you know, they could develop some sort of eating disorder. So it was never talked about with me in club gymnastics or college gymnastics. And
that's to kind of protect you guys, right?
Yeah, kind of to protect us. So I had really no idea anything about nutrition. So I had been eating whatever I want, but luckily my parents are very healthy people, and we would just eat healthy foods, like whole foods and stuff like that. So I was already off to like a pretty good start from there. So thanks, Mom and Dad. But I decided like I didn't know how to cut weight. Like I had never ever tried to actually lose weight. So I decided that if this is something that I really wanted to do, that I was going to have to go ahead and get like professional help. So I went ahead and I hired a nutritionist, and a month later I did my first weightlifting competition, and I weighed in at 53 kilos, and it was not easy at all. Like it was extremely hard, and it meant being super dedicated, but that's what I wanted, and I wasn't going to let anything else get in that way. So I went ahead and I did that, and ended up hitting a PWA record for here in our region for the snatch, for the clean and jerk, and for the total. I don't even remember what it is. I think it's like an 88 kilo clean and jerk, and then I don't remember what the total is, but super awesome to be able to have that. And then went to the American Open and placed 10th at the American Open, which was my goal going into it. And then
what class were you in at the American Open?
At 53. I stayed at 53 the entire time.
So how many months were you at 53?
So
did you go up in between the American Open and then come back down?
Yes. Okay. So after every competition, I would go down to 53. So I'd be 116 pounds, and 2 days later, I would weigh 130 pounds. And that is what I did on and off for 3 months.
Going into the American
Open, which definitely looking back on it, it was not healthy at all. It was not the correct way to do it. I should have done it a little bit differently, and not stuff my face so much after those competitions.
You put a starving animal in front of a cake, they're going to eat it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I did. And then after the American Open, I knew that the CrossFit Open was coming up, and I had goals with that to go to regionals with my team. And so I knew that I needed to put on some more weight in order to be CrossFit ready. I needed my body to have a little bit more weight on me so that I did have some fuel for the workouts. And as everyone knows, mass moves mass. So I definitely was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start eating some more.
Moves mass. Moves more mass.
So I ended up going back up to my regular weight, and that's where I'm sitting at now.
So everything that you've done in terms of nutrition, from when you started, basically with when you decided, okay, I'm going to start weightlifting, and so I'm going to start focusing on my nutrition, and then I'm going to go to the American Open, and then I'm going to compete at the Open, and then regionals. Everything you've done with nutrition has been completely performance-based.
Oh, yeah.
There's never been anything with you that's been aesthetic-based. I need to look a certain way, so I'm going to eat a certain way. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, like I said, I got into it, maybe into CrossFit, thinking that I wanted to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. But I think that quickly changed, because it was no longer about looking a certain way. It was more about like performing and beating the boys in the gym.
Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of going with this whole
stronger.
thing. Is like, what would you say to somebody who, because the whole point of why we're making this podcast right now, and the whole point of why we're putting this out there is for a group of individuals who are wanting to compete in the sport of CrossFit. But I get this all the time from people who say they want to compete in the sport of CrossFit, and they're like, hey, what do I do to get a little bit bigger? I want to move more weight. I want to do this. And I tell them what they need to do, and they always come back with, okay, but am I going to have abs still? And I'm like, I don't care if you have abs or not. I'm telling you what you need to do to perform a certain way, right? Yeah. And it seems like you had a really easy time of finding that, like, well, I don't care what I look like. I need to be able to do these things. How do you, number one question is, do you have people that you work with now who struggle with that, who are like, yeah, I want to look this certain way, but I also want to perform this certain way? Or are most of the people that you're working with now more aesthetic-based?
I would say it's like half and half. Definitely the people that I am working with that are a little bit more competitive or doing the comp training stuff, they are all performance-based. They're like, we just want to go ahead and we want to perform well. We have goals towards getting to regionals, and so whatever you say and stuff, whatever you feel me with, like, I totally trust you with that. And then there's definitely those people that, just kind of want to look a certain way. I think what it comes down to is your goals, like what do you really want? If you really want to become better at this stuff, then there is sacrifices that are going to be made. And I mean,
losing your 2 bottom abs.
Like losing your 2 bottom abs, yes.
I haven't seen those bad boys in a couple years. No.
Yeah, like losing those 2 bottom abs, definitely. And I mean, that's just, and when you decide that you want to do that, that's just showing everyone else and proving to yourself that this is something that you actually want. Like going to regionals is more important than going and looking good. And I think so, like you've said before, like you have to really sit down and decide what is a priority in your life. And if, being healthy and eating correctly is going to help you achieve your goal, is a micro goal towards that macro goal, then that's what you have to do. And then from there, then you go down even further, and then you're like, okay, well, now I need to get a nutritionist, now I need to meal prep, and then go down even further from there and facilitate that.
So it sounds like the first thing that people need to do before they even think about nutrition guidance or nutrition whatever is goal setting, right? It's sitting down, and Bob, we were talking about that with the mental thing we did earlier, saying, hey, we're going to sit down with this group and we're going to go over goal setting, we're going to go over visualization, we're going to go over these things. So you guys should technically already have your goals in place, and then all you're doing is using fuel or food to fuel those goals that you're after, right? So, and that's going to be different for everybody, right? Everybody's going to have a different goal, but the cool thing with the Coast Range program is that we're all working towards the same goal here. Yeah. We're all trying to go to regionals or the games. That's it. Right? There's not this, we don't have this big community of people. If some people want to look a certain way, some people want to perform, etc. It's like we all have one goal, and that is performance-based. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we're going to be coming out with every time there's a new 6-week cycle that starts. It takes us into whatever we're doing for our macro plan throughout the year. Brittany, you're going to be coming out with a template, you could say, of like, hey, this is the performance goal that we're after with this new cycle, and here's some things to think about, and here's some foods to eat. So what is that kind of going to look like throughout the year?
Yeah, so actually I'm really excited about this because I think this is like a really unique and amazing opportunity. I don't think a lot of other programs really have this for them, but I get to work with Wes very personally and on an everyday level, and because of this, he is able to communicate with me what your guys' programming looks like. And that's going to change throughout the year, throughout the season, and there's different goals and different things that we're trying to hit in every cycle. So coming up, we have like a balancing cycle. After that, I think it's strength. And so what you need to eat to fuel your body for, say, like a strength cycle is going to definitely be different than what you're going to need for a cycle where we're doing a lot of long, hard Metcon. So for those strength cycles, you're probably going to see, I'll give you guys a good little layout of what your macro should look like. So if you haven't yet, please make sure that you guys have MyFitnessPal and you guys are inputting your food in there. And I'll let you know exactly what those breakdowns should look like. Unfortunately, I don't have the opportunity to go ahead and tell you guys exactly how many calories you guys should be consuming, and that's going to really change based on the individual and what you need and kind of what you're already eating right now, what your work looks like, and all that kind of stuff. But what I can do is give you guys a breakdown. And so like I was saying before, what you need for strength is probably going to look different for a high Metcon. So strength, you might see your fats go up a little bit more, while during those Metcons, you're going to see your carbs go up. So you have those carbs to go ahead and fuel you for those long workouts.
Awesome. I think one of the greatest inventions in the history of my life has been the MyFitnessPal bar scanner.
Oh my god! I think you can literally scan concrete and it would tell you how many calories.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh!
That thing,
like who hasn't scanned a beer?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when I'm dialed in, everything goes in there. And they literally, you could probably scan concrete and it would tell you if you eat that, it'll be 3 calories. You know what I mean? Like there's half a calorie fat there.
That's been like the great. That's the thing that turned me on to MyFitnessPal the most is because I can scan the barcode and it'll tell me a serving size, what I need, and I can dial my macros. So yeah, MyFitnessPal, huge barcode scanner. Love it all.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that people should be doing to set themselves up for success with any program that they're doing. So we talked about the mental training, like sitting down and coming up with your goals, right? What are your goals for this thing? Well, with nutrition, you should also be sitting down and coming up, okay, what are my specific goals that I need? We're all completely different, right? Some of us need to be stronger. Some people need to be lighter. Some people need to work on gymnastics. Other people need to work on mobility, right? We're all different people. So you guys are going to get this macro plan every cycle that says like, hey, we're working on strength. So like this would be an idea of how many grams per body weight of protein you should be getting, how many grams per body weight of carbohydrates you should be getting, etc. If you're doing the master's program, you have a little bit less volume, so you should be eating this much. If you're doing the regionals programming, this much, etc. But at the same time, if you know that you are severely deficient in one area, meaning like strength, or meaning that, whoa, I'm really strong, but I'm not very good at pull-ups, right? That might be something where you need to reach out to us as an individual and reach out to Brittany and say, hey, I know that like I'm not a very well-rounded individual and I should probably put my time more somewhere else. And that's where we would love to see you guys reach out to each one of us as individuals telling us, hey, you know what, this is a great program and I think it's great for everybody, but I know I need to work on strength. So what should I be doing besides that? I know I need to lose weight. I know that my mental game isn't strong. And reach out to each one of us. You guys are, I don't know of any other program out there that has a mental coach, a nutrition coach, and a programming or a CrossFit programmer all in one area. Wow. So take advantage of that, you guys, and be sure to reach out to us if you know that you have one area that you're severely lacking in and need help with that. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing that. So tangent done. But talking a little bit more about nutrition stuff, what is some, since we are saying, Brittany was saying that all of the stuff that she's done nutrition-wise has been performance-based. I know that when I first started doing CrossFit, all the nutrition stuff I did wasn't necessarily performance-based. It was definitely aesthetic-based. Like I was like, well, I don't want to look fat, and so I'm going to start doing, I remember I started doing zone paleo because I wanted to have abs and I wanted to be ripped. What about you, Bob? How did you start with nutrition stuff?
Zone paleo.
Yep.
That's the CrossFit way, and then I think they've kind of transitioned more towards the healthy carb for the performance-based athlete. But for people that are just getting into CrossFit, zone paleo is better than probably most of the garbage that they're putting in their body today.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I definitely, as I got more into the performance side of it, got more carbs in it, went back to more the sweet potato, the rice, those types of things. It wasn't bowls of cereal.
Yeah.
But, it's still
white rice.
Yeah, white rice, sweet potato, more carbs than maybe that there was in the zone paleo type diet. So
yeah. And then do you notice that like if you decide that, okay, I want to perform better, and so I'm going to start eating more carbs and start doing this, and then have you ever gone to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm going to back off of this a little bit and I'm going to go back into just eating healthier and stuff. Have you done that switch back and forth a couple times? Or have you noticed, or has it just been kind of like a steady incline of like figuring out what you want to do as an athlete?
It's been a steady incline. What I want to do as an athlete, I've tried different. Me as a CrossFit coach, I want to try as many different diet plans out there as there is because I want when the athlete comes to me, I want to be educated on what it is. When I first started coaching baseball, creatine was the big thing. So I started taking creatine because I wanted to be able to tell my athletes what was going to happen to them. Yeah. You're going to get bloated. You're going to get headaches if you don't drink water. You're going to get dehydrated. All those types of things. So same thing with this. There's zone paleo. There's paleo. There's RP. There's what's some other ones? There's precision. There's all these different diets out there. That are there's ketosis, which I'll never do because I don't ever want to stink. That's not the diet for me.
I'll tear somebody's head off with that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. But I tried it. I tried to eat that way for a couple of weeks, and it just wasn't for me. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
And some people love it. So again, but at least I can try it and give my honest opinion. So my experience with diets has been different than maybe an athlete that's trying to go to a specific goal. Because again, I want to get an idea of what everything is, so I can give a little bit of an opinion. For me, I just like achieving a certain amount of macronutrients. Based on like the RP diet, I really enjoy. That's kind of my thing right now. It makes me feel really good. My performance goes up when I'm on it, when I'm following it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the RP, and Brittany, I know you're familiar with it as well. It's really not anything like too crazy. It's just, hey, calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
Getting your macronutrient goal. And then they say if you want to get more of the performance side, it's time your macronutrients. So you're getting more carbs around your workouts and you're eating more of your fats away from your workouts.
Yes.
Which isn't easy having 2 boys, because if I work out late at night and I have to scoop them a bowl of cereal, the spoon magically finds its way into my mouth. So it is what it is, you know. But so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my nutrition.
But bottom line, if we look at everything that we've talked about so far, starting with Zone Paleo, RP, whatever it is that you guys are doing, everything that we've talked about so far has some sort of a measuring cup or a scale involved with it, right? We're not just saying like, oh, just eat some meats and veggies, that's eat some fruit, low starch, no sugar, like a normal healthy individual would want to do, right? We're talking about you have to be weighing and measuring your food. You have to be knowing exactly what you're getting in, the same way that we're writing down our workout times, our strength numbers, etc. If we're not doing that stuff, we never know what to change, right? So if you guys come to Brittany and you're like, you know, oh, I need help with this. Okay, well, what are you doing now? And you don't have something to say. Like, I would, if I don't know what you would say to that person, Brittany, but if they would come to me, I would say, well, go back and try it again, and then come back to me when you know exactly what you're doing, so I know where to go from here. So I would say the best thing that you guys can do right now is sit down for 2 weeks and use that MyFitnessPal scanner and literally scan and put in everything that goes in your mouth for 2 weeks. And just see what a normal couple weeks looks like as far as that protein, carbohydrate, and fat breakdown is. Then when we come out with these Excel spreadsheets saying, hey, you should have this much protein, carb, and fat for this cycle that's coming up, you know how close you are to that and what you need to adjust in order to get there. Or you could be like, holy crap, I'm way off. I'm not even close. Yeah. Like, wow, I eat way too many hot Cheetos or whatever it may be. Read. And you know to adjust that stuff. A lot of times I think that we just kind of go through our daily lives and, you know, food should be the number one most important thing to us, but it's not. It's just kind of like, I got to eat, so I eat whatever I want. We don't even realize what's going on. So I would say one of the biggest things you guys could do is just, no matter what you're eating, it doesn't matter, just take some time to record it. Yeah. And record it for at least a couple weeks to find out where you're at.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like at first it might be like just overwhelming, but MyFitnessPal actually makes it pretty easy to where they have like your most recently used stuff. Oh, whenever you use this, you also use that.
And
I
think meals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So definitely the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and it's not so scary anymore. But I think at first, if you've never done this before, you will be shocked to see like how much you like mindlessly eat. I think that's just something that we do. I know that's something that I was doing at first. Like I would just graze the entire day, like not necessarily eat a whole bunch for meals, but I would just graze. Like I'd always have something in my hand, and that's the first thing that I like changed. So like there was never really a time where my body was ever having to like use any of my stored like fat or anything like that, because I just kept on putting things in my mouth. And so I think you're going to be shocked with how much you actually kind of do consume. Or if you're someone who one thing that I'm coming across a lot is people that do the whole Zone Paleo thing, and now they're ready to like up their performance, and then they haven't really been eating carbs. I think they're shocked to see how much they're really not consuming calorie-wise.
I think that's my big thing.
They're like, whoa!
Yeah. My big thing is that if I don't think about it and I'm not recording what I'm doing, or I'm not writing it down, or just having like, okay, I know I need to eat these meals every single day, I way under eat.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll work out all day long. I have no problem like doing 15 metcons a day and lifting and stuff because I love it. I love being in the gym, and I will just not eat the whole time. And all of a sudden I'm starving, and I'm like, I'm going to die. And so I go to In-N-Out and I get a 4x4 and a shake and fries, and I'm like justifying to myself, like, well, you missed all these calories throughout the day, so you get all these calories in and stuff. And that's great, but at some point the health marker runs into the performance marker, right? And if I'm not getting in those small amounts of veggies throughout the day, my micronutrients I need to get in, my vitamins and minerals and stuff in slow doses throughout the day, and I'm just slamming 4x4s and shakes at night so I can get my calories in I didn't get through the day, like that health is going to run into performance at some point, and that's going to cause my performance in the gym to go down. So one of the big things I'm seeing now after like being around this thing for a while, I mean, it's going on 7 years now, is that we've gone through these phases in CrossFit where it started out with everybody was paleo, strict. You didn't eat it if it didn't come from the ground, right? Or if you couldn't kill it or whatever. And if it was a potato, it was like, you might as well throw holy water on it. Like, don't be around this thing. It's a potato. Like, oh my God, right? And we were severely like underfeeding ourselves like all the time. And I was in that boat for sure. And yeah, everybody looked extremely ripped, but we were also very depleted and our performance was really low. And that was like, everybody knows that feeling when they first started in CrossFit and they'd be like 30 seconds into a workout because they had no idea what pacing was and they're just dying and bonking and stuff, right? And then all of a sudden we kind of started realizing, okay, we need carbs and stuff. Yeah. And now I feel like we're going completely the opposite direction where it's about just eat whatever the F you want as long as you're getting in the protein, carb, and fat that you need every day. And I feel like there needs to be we need to take a step back and go, yes, you need to get the protein and the carb and fat that you need every day, but we need to be eating vegetables. Yeah. And we need to be getting in the micronutrients that are going to keep us healthy when we're 70 and 80 and 90 years old, right? Because at some point you can only eat sweet potatoes and chicken and not get in any actual veggies, any actual micronutrients that are going to keep you healthy. And what I'm seeing is a lot of people get sick in CrossFit really easy. And so you'll see these guys who are performing really well. They're killing it. And all of a sudden they're getting sick.
And they're out.
Or their allergies are acting up, or they're not sleeping well, and they're getting sick again. And it's like any little virus comes up, they got it. And it's because their bodies are just breaking down and have those micronutrients. So be sure that you guys, you got to get your protein, carbs, and fat in every single day, but make sure you're getting some veggies in there too as well. And that can be hard from a performance standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Because what are we if we're performing in the gym, we're working out 2 or 3 times a day, we need a lot of carbs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then when somebody asks you hey, throw in a handful of veggies in there, it's like, F you, man. I could barely eat the food that I need to eat as it is. So what are some, if anybody chime in here, what are some things that you, advice, I guess you would say, to make sure that people or things that you've done to get those micronutrients in without feeling like you're dying from eating all the time? Have you guys done any mess around with any of that stuff? Or are you guys on the other end of the spectrum? You're I should probably eat more fruits and veggies.
I feel like I make it a point for every meal to have some. I feel like that is a little bit more of a priority to me than necessarily getting all the carbs because, like you said, in the long run, we're doing CrossFit to be healthy, right? We do this stuff to become healthier people. And so that should be a priority over eating the carbs to make sure that we can get through that workout that day. So I definitely make sure that I have some greens, try to get as many colors in there throughout the day. So every meal getting that in. And I also really like juicing. I don't do it myself. I don't have a juicer myself. So I'll go out and I'll pay that extra money to go ahead and get those juices. But definitely like juicing.
No, yeah, that was definitely where I was kind of going with this thing. Was that I actually got some advice from. So I work with Pure Pharma, and they have a nutritionist that they use. And I talked with him on the phone at nausea about this. And he was trying to tell me, get your micronutrients. And I was like, bro, I can barely eat anything else. I'm dying just getting in the carbs I need. And that's what he told me to do. He said, well, start juicing. Yeah. And I was like, but juicing doesn't have fiber in it. It's not good for you, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, you're at the point you don't need to worry about fiber, right? You're getting enough food in as it is, and you're just trying to get enough food to fuel what you're doing in the workout. You need those micronutrients. So juicing is an amazing way to get that stuff in quick. And yeah, it's not going to sit in your stomach and dissolve, but that's not what you need. No. What you need is that quick micronutrient breakdown that's going into your bloodstream right away. So yeah, I started juicing. I do it every single morning. Do you have a certain juice drink that you drink?
No, not necessarily. I usually tend to go for those green ones. But there's a place very close to where I live, so I'm very fortunate to have that because there's not a whole lot of juicing places out where we are. There's not one in Gilroy, I know. Mm-hmm. I don't know where the nearest one is to Gilroy, but there's one just minutes around from my house, so I just go there and
I think you can go to Jamba Juice and get some fresh squeezed stuff, I think, for sure there. But I think buying your own juicer is the best thing you could possibly do. Every morning it's 2 beets, 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, an apple, a lemon, some kale, and a little bit of ginger. And that was a recipe that I got from this guy from Pure Pharma. And he had all these reasons why I should be eating ginger and apples. And beets is actually like a VO2 enhancer, I believe he said, or it's like the same thing as taking beta alanine, basically. So it's like a natural beta alanine. And he had all these, and I was blowing my mind with it. And I was like, whatever, just shut up and tell me what to take, and I'll take it. So
the key to beets, though, is remembering that you ate them.
Yes. That could be scary.
You're not bleeding out.
Yeah.
Don't go to the emergency room. Oh my God.
The first couple times I remember being like, oh my God, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, okay, you're okay.
Yeah, I had been
eating beets.
I'm okay.
You're okay. Yeah.
That's funny.
Cool. Okay, so just to kind of wrap this thing up, Brittany, give us an idea of what we can look forward to, because the new cycle is starting on Monday, and we're done with testing, and we're going into it's going to be our balance cycle / mobility cycle. So what that means, you guys, is that we're going to be focusing on, over the course of the year, we have a tendency to only move in one plane of motion, forward and backwards, up and down. And we very rarely move from left to right or use single arm or single leg stuff. And so we have if you twist an ankle or you tweak an elbow or you pull a wrist or mess with a wrist or something like that, and all of a sudden you continue to use this forward and backwards, up and down, straight forward, straight backwards movements, we can create some really big imbalances in the body. And so this whole next 6 weeks is really focused on doing our basic due diligence with the athletes and getting them to kind of line up left to right. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of single leg work, a lot of single arm work. It's going to be a little bit of strength stuff, but in different planes of motion, and kind of becoming athletes again. So what are going to be some of the recommendations nutrition-wise for people leading into this cycle?
So with this cycle, I think it's very important still to keep inflammation down. And so really just getting those veggies in and keeping it as healthy as possible, taking out all the processed stuff. If it is made out of like 15 different ingredients, you probably shouldn't be eating it. So not using donuts as your carb source. Yeah, I know. So bad.
We just lost it.
Everyone just
all
quit.
of our burgers.
I'm sorry, Wes, don't fire me. And so just keeping it really clean still right now. If you're someone that I'm working with personally, probably going up a little bit more in your intake overall, just because I have seen the programming. It is a little bit longer than just the one Metcon and the one strength thing. So making sure that you are being fueled, but making sure it's the correct fuel.
So we're not necessarily after just shoving food in our faces. It's about really bringing down inflammation to fix these issues that we may have from left to right, feeling really good, sleeping really good. You guys should feel really light during this one. We shouldn't feel heavy. We shouldn't feel like we're dying because we're eating, mass amounts of food, etc. It's more about kind of going back to that zone paleo type of thing,
yes.
Right? We're not going to be, like you said, eating donuts and stuff like that.
Correct.
Sorry, guys, that'll happen later probably in the year when we start getting closer to regionals and the games and things like that, where it's just about fueling the volume. But these next 6 weeks is really about being healthy.
Correct.
And I think tying in kind of the goal setting to what you had said earlier, the macro versus micro cycle, and how do you climb Everest? Is Everest is the summit, so don't expect your abs to show up within 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Okay.
It's going to take a long time and even the inflammation to go down if I'm not correct, right? It's just like, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to feel great the next morning. It's going to take a while for this stuff to leave your body, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I was listening to something and someone had said you have been eating so long, if you're not in the best shape ever, or even for me for going into regionals, I ate a whole lot more and I definitely was not feeling my skinniest at that point, but I had been eating like that for so long, so eating healthy one day is not going to undo all those days.
The years of eating like crap.
Exactly. It's a process, but and it's crazy too. Wes and I did a seminar together, a nutrition seminar, and we talked about how food is so closely correlated to it mentally, and how once you are going into the gym and you're feeling good and you're eating the right food in order to fuel your workouts and you're hitting PRs and stuff, you start wanting those foods more, you know, and then it becomes a lifestyle. And so same thing, not all of a sudden are you going to hit a PR and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I ate, you know, oatmeal this morning and now I love oatmeal. It's just doing it on an everyday basis, and then soon it just becomes a lifestyle and you're feeling good and you're doing good in the gym.
Yep, and then you don't want to eat like crap anymore,
yeah, exactly.
Right? You don't want to feel like the way you used to, etc. So
no, the day that you do, the next day you feel like the worst you felt in years.
Yeah.
That's the part where I have a couple of beers on Sunday, and I wake up Monday and I'm like,
I'm so ready to be healthy again.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just and for me personally, you felt like that way for so long because you didn't eat healthy, and I drank beer and everything else. I didn't realize what it was to be healthy. You know, and you see all these things on Instagram where it's like you eat a salad and all of a sudden you feel healthy as fuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's really not. You just ate vegetables for a day. Or the 3-day juice cleanse is another one I love. You know, I lost 10 pounds on a 10-day juice or a 3-day juice cleanse.
Great.
You're like,
shit everything out.
Yeah, exactly. And the next day, it was also like a 500-calorie diet. And
you ate
but then when I got into changed my nutrition, and I ate like that for a month, and I thought of food as fuel. I'm fueling my body, and I felt amazing. And then all of a sudden you have that one day, and you're like, oh, okay. Now
I'm ready to get back to feeling good.
Yeah, now I get it. So, but yeah, definitely huge nutrition.
Awesome, you guys. So yeah, be on the lookout for those guidelines that come out pretty soon, leading into this next one. Definitely before Monday. And yeah, new cycle starts on Monday, you guys. So be ready, be fired up, and we're gonna get this thing going. Anything else, you guys?
Peace out.
No.
Good luck. Eat healthy.
Deuces.